life comes first, my health comes first. It's unfortunate that when I was here in hospital, my brother and friend, President William Ruto, ordered for the...
You know, they say politics is like football. 1 minute you're in the game, the next minute you're being substituted. Except in politics, there's no nice applause from the fans as you walk off. Sometimes it's more like they're switching off the stadium lights and telling you to pack up and leave. And oh boy, did things get packed up on the night of October 17th.
Nia kusema kitendo kama hicho.
Let me take you back to that Thursday night, October 17th. It was a quiet evening across the country, but over at the Deputy President's official residence in Karen, the atmosphere was anything but peaceful. Inside, there was panic. While most of the country was getting ready to sleep, the workers at Rigathi Gachagua's residence were given an urgent task: clear everything out. They had already seen the writing on the wall. The previous week's events in the National Assembly had made it clear things were not looking good for their boss. The Senate was in the middle of debating Gachagua's impeachment, and it was just a matter of hours before the decision was made. But the drama didn't stop at the Karen residence. Over at the Senate, things were taking a wild turn. Earlier in the day, as the Senate hearing was underway, something strange happened. Gachagua disappeared. Yes, you heard me right. He was supposed to be there defending himself, but suddenly, poof, he was gone. Turns out, Gachagua had been hospitalized with chest pains.
The sad reality is that the Deputy President of the Republic of Kenya has been taken sick, very sick, and as I address Mr. Speaker in this honorable House, Senators, he is in hospital, Mheshimiwa Speaker. That is a sad reality.
He had been rushed to Karen Hospital at around 3 p.m. The hospital's director, Dr. Dangi Konyo, later confirmed that Gachagua was stable, but they needed to observe him for 48 to 72 hours. Talk about timing, right? Whether it was genuine or not, it delayed the proceedings. The Senate had to wait until 5 p.m. to continue, leaving everyone wondering, would Gachagua show up or not?
And that's why we have taken him in. We are going through various investigations, blood tests, ECGs, all the things we do to find out if there's any danger. Right now he's stable, the pain is less, blood pressure is okay, and we are still carrying on the investigations.
If you have just joined our live broadcast.
Fast forward to around 11 p.m. The Senate had finally finished their discussions and it was time to vote. And just as expected, the vote was cast. Rigathi Gachagua was officially impeached. The die had been cast and the clock was ticking. Back at Karen, the workers knew it was over. There would be no last-minute miracle. So they started packing up. Not just Gachagua's personal belongings, but even their own. You see, they knew that when the morning came, things would get even more intense. So, between 11 p.m. and 2:30 a.m., the staff worked tirelessly, removing clothes, documents, and anything that belonged to the former deputy president. And it wasn't just about clearing out the house. Some of the staff had more personal concerns. They were assigned government vehicles, and now that their boss had been impeached, they didn't know if they'd get to keep them. Some of them decided to take their chances, thinking, hey, maybe I'll just hold on to this car for a little while longer. But, of course, the government wasn't having any of that. By Saturday morning, a full-scale operation was underway to retrieve those cars. Imagine waking up in your rural home, only to find the government at your doorstep asking for the keys. My official car was taken without warning. I wasn't even told in advance. They trailed me to my home and just took it. By the time the sun was rising on Friday morning, the residence was almost completely empty. It's ironic when you think about it. Rigathi Gachagua didn't even get to spend much time in the Karen residence after taking office. It had been under renovation for months, and when he finally moved in, it seems the political winds shifted too quickly for him to enjoy it. Even though the staff worked through the night, the process didn't end there. Gachagua's office at Harambee House Annex was also cleared out, with his personal items removed by Friday morning. The transition was in full swing. President William Ruto had already nominated Interior Cabinet Secretary Kithure Kindiki as Gachagua's replacement, and preparations were underway for the swearing-in. But just when things seemed to be moving swiftly, there was one twist in the tale. Following Gachagua's impeachment, his security detail was scaled down. Officers from the Presidential Escort Unit were quietly pulled from the residence, but here's the catch. The High Court threw a wrench into the government's plans by halting the swearing-in of Kithure Kindiki. The security officers, who had just been removed, had to be reinstated while the legal battle played out. This decision meant that for the time being, Gachagua still held some semblance of his former power, at least until the courts could sort things out. By Friday, the National Assembly had already moved on. They approved President Ruto's nomination of Kindiki, signaling a swift political transition. Gachagua, who had once been a rising star in the United Democratic Alliance, was now a man in the past. Interestingly, many of these lawmakers had preferred Kindiki as Ruto's running mate in the 2022 election. But back then, Ruto chose Gachagua, a former Mathira MP, over the current Interior Cabinet Secretary. And now, it seemed that fate had caught up with him. The office of the Deputy President had officially begun its shake-up. A memo sent out on Friday put 108 employees, many of them tied to Gachagua's tenure, on compulsory leave. Their contracts, which had been directly connected to his term in office, were now expired. It was all happening so fast. Personal items packed, government cars reclaimed, and a reshuffling of duties at the Deputy President's office. And all of this happened while Rigathi Gachagua's team was left to pick up the pieces of a career that had been dramatically cut short. So, what happens next? As we wait for the final verdict from the courts and see how this political drama unfolds, one thing is certain. Kenya's political landscape is changing, and it's happening quickly. And that's politics for you, always full of surprises. One day you're in, the next you're out. I guess we'll just have to stay tuned to see what happens next. Let me know in the comments below what you think about Rigathi Gachagua's sudden fall from grace. Is this the end of his political career, or does he still have a chance at a comeback? Be sure to subscribe to LifeLens TV, where we bring you the latest political drama, stories, and in-depth analysis. Until next time, stay informed.